JonBenet Ramsey, the beautiful child beauty queen, became the focus of one of the most mysterious cases in the United States after being murdered in 1996. The death caused difficulties for the police because the evidence was disturbed. The victim's family did not cooperate with the investigation. In today's video, let's explore the thrilling details and hypotheses surrounding this case. Welcome to the Tam TV. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the latest video. After more than 3 decades, this is still one of the most famous cold cases in the United States. JonBenet Ramsey Patricia, born on August 6, 1990, won the title of Little Miss Colorado, USA, when she was only 6 years old. She has white skin, blonde hair, a chubby face with a bright smile. Since childhood, she has appeared on the covers of many major newspapers and has been invited to participate in advertising programs. She is expected to become a Miss Post-Apocalyptic World. However, JonBenet's bright future ended on the fateful day of December 26, 1996. That day, JonBenet's mother, Patsy Ramsey, called the police to report that her daughter had been kidnapped from her home in Boulder, Colorado. On the bed in her bedroom, the family found a note demanding $118,000 in ransom. Declaring himself a member of a foreign organization, the perpetrator threatened to kill JonBenet if the family intentionally reported the incident to the investigating agencies or colluded with the police to set a trap. At first, the family thought JonBenet had just been kidnapped, so they prepared a ransom to save their daughter. The amount the kidnappers demanded was equal to the profits that JonBenet's father, John Ramsey, earned from his business. After preparing the ransom, the Ramsey family still called 911 to report the kidnapping. Since then, they have not received any calls from the kidnappers. But at around 1:30 p.m. that same day, JonBenet's family discovered her body in the basement of their home. A rope was wrapped around JonBenet's neck, her hands were tied above her head, and her mouth was covered. She was covered with a thin blanket. JonBenet's body showed signs of strangulation, and her skull had a fracture. According to the victim's family, the last time JonBenet was seen was on the night of December 25th, when she went to bed. After the autopsy, the family took JonBenet back to her hometown in Georgia for burial. JonBenet's death became a shocking case in the United States at that time. Notably, the identity of the perpetrator remains an unsolved mystery, despite many suspects and clues discovered over the years. According to the Washington Crime Museum, JonBenet's family may have made some mistakes after discovering the victim's body. They could not keep the house in its original condition from the time the girl went missing until the body was found. The family also touched the body, causing much evidence to be destroyed or distorted. Therefore, the investigation agency had difficulty collecting and analyzing evidence. Through the autopsy, the police drew some important conclusions. First, the cause of death was asphyxiation and brain injury. There were no footprints around the house even though it was snowing heavily that day. The basement where the victim's body was found was also a difficult room to find. So the hypothesis is that the killer was someone familiar with the victim's family. On January 1st, 1997, the JonBenet family appeared in an interview with CNN. They claimed that a hidden killer was lurking in the shadows. The JonBenet family promised a large reward for anyone with information about the killer. After that, the investigation agency received more than 500 letters and more than 1,100 phone calls reporting the case, but all of them were false information. However, not long after, the media reported that Mr. and Mrs. Ramsey became the main suspects in the case. From the evidence of no footprints around the house, the basement where the victim's body was found was difficult to find. The media suspected that the killer was a family member. In addition, the ransom demand was also very suspicious. Normally, a kidnapper would demand a general amount of money, but in the note, the suspect specifically stated $118,000. This amount matched Mr. John's business bonus. John's colleagues also admitted that very few people knew about the reward, other than his relatives or John himself. The police quickly named John and Patsy Ramsey as the prime suspects in the case. The theory was that the two had accidentally killed JonBenet and then staged the crime scene as a break-in, kidnapping, and murder. But JonBenet's parents firmly denied the accusations. Whether JonBenét's parents were the perpetrators of the case was a long-standing controversy. Many investigators disputed this theory. They argued that there was a window in the basement leading to the outside, so the killer could have broken in through there and accidentally discovered the basement, which was relatively closed off from the rest of the house. Others still pointed their suspicions at JonBenét's parents. These disagreements made the investigation more confusing and time-consuming. Until 2003, the case took a new turn. Using the latest DNA testing methods, forensic experts isolated bloodstains on JonBenét's clothes. The DNA results showed that the bloodstains belonged to an unidentified man. Because this DNA did not match JonBenét's family members, the Ramseys were officially eliminated from the investigation. The next suspect was John Mark Carr, a teacher at a local high school. In August 2006, he admitted to being the killer who killed JonBenet. This man said that he picked JonBenet up from school and took her home. There, he drugged her, raped her, and unfortunately caused her death. John Mark Carr did so because he admired the innocent beauty of the victim. However, Carr's DNA sample and testimony did not match the details of the incident. Similarly, another suspect, Gary Olivia, who confessed to friends that he had murdered JonBenet, was also eliminated from the investigation because his DNA sample did not match. Another theory is that the killer was someone close to the victim's family. Among them, the biggest suspect is Mrs. Linda Hoffman Pugh, the Ramsey family's housekeeper. This person not only has the house key, knows the Ramsey family's schedule in detail, but also has the ability to secretly look at Mr. John's payroll and bonuses. Moreover, Mrs. Linda's alibi is not solid. At the time JonBenet went missing, Mrs. Linda said that she was sleeping alone. There were no witnesses to prove this statement. But Mrs. Linda was never officially charged because these suspicions had no direct basis. The next suspect is Mr. Michael Helgoth, who lived in the neighborhood and had the ability to break into the Ramsey family. However, Mr. Michael died just 2 days after the murder. The investigation agency believes that he was killed by his accomplices in the kidnapping. But because the suspect is dead, this hypothesis also falls into a dead end. But the most shocking theory is that JonBenet's brother, Burke Ramsey, who was 9 at the time, was the killer. This idea originated from the 2016 CBS documentary, The Case of JonBenet Ramsey. In an interview for the documentary, the medical examiner at the time said that he found pineapple in JonBenet's stomach. Investigators also found a bowl of pineapple in the kitchen. But Patsy said she did not prepare pineapple for JonBenet. From there, the theory is that Burke prepared pineapple for a late-night snack, but JonBenet ate it by herself. Burke is said to have used a heavy object, such as a flashlight, to hit her on the head. JonBenet's parents believed that their daughter was dead, so they staged her kidnapping and murder. However, after the show aired, Burke and John filed a lawsuit against the publisher. Burke Ramsey has sued CBS for $750 million in compensation for baseless theories. To this day, the JonBenet murder remains one of the most closely watched cold cases in the United States. The investigation agency is still interested in the details and theories of this case, while the community has expressed sympathy for the unfortunate victim. Former FBI investigator Jim Clemente said that the reason the JonBenet case remains a mystery is because the Ramsey family does not want it to be solved. The key point is that the 3-page ransom note was analyzed by language experts and showed that there was an arrangement with intentional errors. What makes the investigation agency most concerned is the exact ransom amount, $118,000. The length of the letter is also very suspicious. Normally, with ransom notes, the perpetrator only writes about 50 to 60 words, while the letter the Ramsey family received was up to 385 words. While the letter's content can be summed up in 3 sentences, the Ramsey family may have forged the letter to mislead the investigation. However, to date, all of these suspicions are just hypotheses and none of them have solid evidence. Decades after the murder, America still has the same question. Who is the killer of child beauty queen JonBenet Ramsey?
Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. And as always, feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below. See you in the next one.